Hi guys, thanks for checking the video out. Steve Buzza here, and today I'm discussing something that you wouldn't really think usually you would get the opportunity to discuss. Is there a player that can rival Tiger, especially coming through the ranks? So I want to compare Tiger at 24 versus Collin Morikawa at 24. Tiger probably achieved a little bit more because Tiger cut his time short at college, where Collin stayed in college, and I think he developed a lot of skills, and it was probably very beneficial for him to stay in college. You know, it sounds like he physically matured there, worked out very hard in the gym, but very much found out who he is. And I think that is one of the key comparisons with Collin Morikawa and Tiger. They seem to have a very strong standing on who they are. Very different personalities, but very very congruent with who they are, even at a very young age. And then you just look at the golf games themselves, and I kind of want to. I don't want to jump ahead. You know, we got to be careful. You know, you had Rory, you had Jordan. You know, two very good examples of guys that kind of started hot in their careers, especially when it came to majors. We start making the narrative that they are the ones that are going to kind of try and take on Tiger, and the last one of those to win would be Tiger at Augusta in 19. So the reason why I think Collin Morikawa might be different is his game seems far more rounded. You know, especially compared to Jordan, has the heart of a lion. You know, I've got a son on the way. I've got a son coming to me at the end of the year. If I could give him a personality trait, the tenacity that Jordan Spieth shows would be one I would definitely would be over the moon if my son had that. But mechanically and in his game, he's a little scrappy. You know, he's never shown the dominance that Tiger showed. You know, mechanically and in all elements of his game. You know, when Jordan does well, holds tons of putts, hold lots of putts he probably shouldn't hold. I do feel like he willed them in, but was never as a complete golfer as Tiger. Rory, tee to green, I would say far closer to what Tiger was, but putting and wedge play, probably not quite there. Rory struggles in tough conditions, and that's why I think it's hard to compare him straight up against Tiger. Like, it would have been lovely to see Rory do well. He had kind of perfect conditions for himself at Royal St. George last week and didn't quite play well enough. But when it comes to flighting the ball in the wind and stuff, Tiger is so much more superior to Rory. Rory's ball striking, however, very much up there. But we then go to Collin Morikawa. He does have a weakness, and a complete weakness compared to Tiger. If we're comparing Collin versus Tiger, putting. You know, Tiger was just always immense with the putter. When you looked at Tiger in tough situations, you felt like he would hold a putt. And more times than not, Tiger did. Collin, not at that level yet. But the putting display he showed at the Open, incredible the way he putted, especially on Sunday under the pressure. So I think that is developing. He's changed his grip. He's gone into kind of a pencil. He's kind of gone into a claw grip. And I think he's working really hard. And his putting, I think it will just keep improving. But this is, I think, where people get golf stats wrong. And the phrase, you drive for show, putt for dough, isn't true. It is not true. When a player wins, putting tends to contribute to their score. I think it's 40% compared to a normal week of 15. So clearly holing putts does help you win. It's a massive element in winning. But longevity, you can't just do it with the putter. If you've got other elements in your game that are fantastic, and then you putt well, you can almost guarantee a win. To use someone that wasn't a good putter, Vijay Singh, not a very good putter. His long game was so good that he could win events putting below the field average. You know, putting worse than the field average. So Vijay Singh could do that. Collin Morikawa, his putting, and this is kind of what it was seeing in his wins, is when he gets the putter going, he will win. Comparing his driving against Tiger, quite a hard comparison to make, and it's because they're both very good for very different reasons. Tiger, especially when he was Collin's age, and where golf was at that time, Tiger was incredibly long. Collin isn't compared to his cohort. So I give Tiger the edge with driver because of the distance component. But when you look at the strokes gained, so you look at the distance versus the accuracy, Collin is pretty good. So I give Tiger the little bit forward compared to Collin, but that gap isn't big, and that gap could be closed. Collin is likely to continue to drive it well, and I think he will be far more consistent over the years than Tiger was. So that might flip on its head if Collin keeps going and his trajectory keeps going in the direction it looks like it's going. But then we have the iron play. Iron play is the most important. From a strokes gains perspective, iron play has the biggest influence on score. So if you don't have an iron play that can rival Tiger's, you can't even have the conversation. Collin does. But when we look at Tiger, probably not when he was 24. Strokes gain came in at, when did strokes gain come? Like 2002, was it? Something like that. So not far off of when Tiger was in his prime. Tiger, through a decade, a period, his iron play was twice as good as the person in number 2 spot. That's how good Tiger was. Collin is getting there. Is he that good? I don't know. But because his iron play is as good as it is, we can have the conversation. I can make this video. There's nobody else has had this iron play or the potential to have such a dominant iron play as Collin Morikawa. So we have some exciting times ahead. He just seems like a really nice guy as well. I love listening to interviews with his coach. They seem to have got a very nice environment that they've created. And they haven't fallen into it, I think, through planning through the years. Again, that's why I say I think it was good that he stayed in college. I think he has created an environment where emotionally he is in a really great place. And maybe Tiger never had that. So if you factor in that he can go toe-to-toe with Tiger's skills on the golf course, and I think he's in a really good place emotionally, it could be scary how many major titles Collin Morikawa could win. So get some comments down below. Am I just in the hype? You know, it was easy for me to play Captain Hindsight and say, well, it was obvious Jordan Spieth and Rory McIlroy weren't going to have the same level of wins as Tiger, or at that rate, at that age. But I have hindsight. Have I been just swept up in the fact that he's won a couple of majors and he's won them early? You could almost argue that works for you. You know, there's no expectation playing in your debut. Have I been wrapped up? Or are you somebody that has been following him, watching his game, not seeing any chinks in the armor, plus seeing potential to grow and get better? Because again, that's what I'm seeing, and I wouldn't want to play him. I'll leave it there. I wouldn't want to play him for money. But as always, thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay happy, and I hope to catch you soon.